Hello everybody, we have to apologize for, or he has to apologize anyway, but welcome to start again. Welcome to ASF Behind the Scenes. This time we'll be covering Summer Strike, and the reason we didn't come on Thursday is because he couldn't make it. Shut up. It's becoming Christmas time when everyone's like, oh, I don't know, what's the word? Oh yeah, busy. Okay. Okay. Well, I guess that's his argument. But I've done all my Christmas shopping. I did it just after October, so ooh, Mr. Fancy. But yeah, so he's been doing his Christmas shopping. But we're here on Sunday because it's Sunday, but we are going to do a double record to make up for lost time. So in other words, we're going to be doing two shows. So we'll be doing Summer Strike in terms of recording, and then we'll be doing the draft straight afterwards. Well, we might have a break in between, but otherwise. But nonetheless, we're going to start this off now. This one's 2 hours long plus. I think it's about 2 hours 5 minutes, this Summer Strike event. So yeah, it's a big event. But you'll see Summer Strike tonight, and then we'll be uploading, or I'll be uploading the draft tomorrow on Monday, seeing as I'm not doing much else on Monday because it's the Christmas week and there's nothing to do. Either that, or I might upload it on Christmas Day because obviously we won't be able to do anything Christmas Day because we'll be doing other things. So we won't be able to record that. So either you'll see the draft tomorrow or you will see it on Christmas Day. I'll upload it first thing when I get up, and then I can enjoy the rest of the day or whatever, and you can do whatever because it'll be there. Just whatever. Should we go? Let's go. Good decision. Okay. I think I've muted everything, so that's good. Apart from my voices. Again, this will be done in a style of a podcast. So, you can just do whatever you're doing, being busy, doing your Christmas shopping or whatever. I don't think they can listen to us if they're doing that. They won't be at home. Well, they could be listening to it on their iPad or whatever. I don't know. Just, yeah. Anyway, sit back and relax. This one's 2 hours. We're not going to be sitting back and relaxing. We've got so much to remember for this event. Just so many different things going on, and because it's going to be completely different from King of the Ring, obviously, because X amount of matches, and it's not just a big tournament, and there's so many storylines going into this one. So yeah, here we are with the opening match list, as always. I think it's because I changed it, didn't I? It's because I didn't used to do a rundown on the actual televised themed shows like SmackDown or Raw. So we did it at the start of the event. So I just did little times. I just said, this match is happening, and there you go, instead of just a whole list. But I might have, I don't know. I've forgotten. I think you did both, because like you said, you like people to be aware of what's going on when they're tuning into the event in case they missed anything. So yeah. So that's that. Okay. Guess I must have. Seems like a good decision at the time. I love that picture of Homer. I'm sorry. He is like in another world. It's like, I'm going in a TLC match? Holy balls. Okay, I've never heard you say that before, so that's a first. I kind of like the layout for the title screens, the match screens or whatever. They're kind of cool. Oh, here's the failure match, the fans vote match. I think I talked about this at Bad Blood, didn't I? Yes, you did. No one was interested in this match, but we still got a cage out of it. Hooray! I got the percentages for the votes actually, even though they're not accurate, because I just doubled them from whatever they were originally to get a nice percentage out of each one to make it seem like people actually cared. different story with the ASIF, but not with this match. No one was interested in this match. I will talk about the percentages when we kick off on that match, because that sounds like something very fascinating to talk about. So yeah, oh, this is going to be good. 2 hours. Hey. We're only 5 minutes in. So yeah, I think it's 8 matches in total for this event. Hang on, let me count. 5, 6, 7. Yeah, 8 matches. That sounds about right. We've got, I think Survivor Series had an equal amount, but it was much, much longer because of the drag out of the elimination matches. We might have had less than 8, I'm not sure. We might have had 7 or 6. But we definitely didn't have 5. 5 is what we had for the smaller events. We're going to move, or we've been moving Raw up to 5 matches instead of 4, because it used to be like SmackDown and Raw, you only used to have 4 matches each per thing, but Raw's moved up to 5, I think, as of late. That's just a scheme we're going to move into for coming up to Mascot Mania when we start again in April. I'm going to keep blurting that out just in case people miss it. We are coming back in April next year. April 2nd, to be exact. So yeah, that's when the ASF is going to return. I feel like we're both comfortable enough to be moving into a full-time regime again, and I hope everyone else is as well that works for the show or does stuff for the show, namely like Kadena and Connor and, you know, just the voice actors as well. So yeah, but we should be good to go. I have high hopes for the return. And when you say return, you're not just going to do one show and then leave it for 6 months. No. This is going to be, I'm going to try and make it so we get a new show every 2 weeks once it starts off again. That's the plan. So I hope everyone's able to work with that. It should be able to. I mean, that's what we were doing originally, kind of. It was like 2 to 3 weeks per show, but it was still like on a regular basis, and that's what I want to go back to. So yeah, should be good. The return, people, it's coming. It's going to be good. It's going to be good. Yeah, okay, you're going overboard now. Yeah, I believe you. So this is Rouge versus Cream as our opening contest for the Women's Championship. Not the first time these two have faced off. Going into commentary mode almost. So this is continuing the feud between those two because Amy and Sonya were doing their own thing. We didn't highlight that particularly at this match, at this event, I should say. I don't think so anyway. No. But that was just a small rivalry. So those two didn't have anything to do. So we were continuing the rivalry here with Cream and Rouge. And Cream was the women's champion, of course, and Rouge was saying, "You got yourself lucky and everything," and you know, because it was a fatal 4-way and anyone could have won and whatever. So this was the excuse me, testament. This was the test, I should say, to the testament of Cream's ability to defend the championship, and obviously came out on top because that's who won. And of course, Cream then gets drafted over to Raw, which I wasn't expecting. But hey, we'll talk more about that on the draft, which will be either Monday or on Christmas Day, which I'm sure it'll be fun for everyone to listen to. Because that was one of the nights where I know I keep saying it every time, but that's how unpredictable, even for us, it was, because I didn't even know who was going to jump from show to show, even at this point. I had a rough idea for some people who were going to jump over to different shows, but I didn't have an exact idea, because we had a total of, I think it was 12 people jumping over in total between shows, which is almost coming up to half of the roster we actually have, because we've only got like about just under 30 people, I think, on the entire roster. So it was going to be almost half the roster jumping over and changing shows from each brand. So yeah, it was a. So I was just trying to enjoy this night as much as possible before the chaos began, and we had to decide who was going where, because we had not planned this in advance. And also I think this is when our commentary got a little bit better. However, I suffered from having a cold during this event. Oddly enough, even if this was summer strike, I think we were posting it in the late winter time. So a cold was starting to flourish from me. So that's kind of funny and unironic in some kind of sense or form. I had a little bit of a one as well, if I recall. But I didn't have it as bad off as you. You were sniffing like hell. Yeah, I can remember now. Oh dear. But I don't think I was sniffing very much in this match. I was just, oh, there you go, Cream gets a victory already. Well, it's been 11 minutes in, why not? That shows Rouge who's boss. But yeah, we were both feeling a bit under the weather. It might have been my cold catching on to you, I don't know. I wasn't sniffing as much, I just felt a bit like, I don't want to do this, but I have to. Because it has to be done. Because people are waiting for the show to come out, because it obviously took a long time because it's 8 matches, so it's double what we were doing for the other shows. King of the Ring took a long time as well, but that was more basic because it was just one-on-one stuff. This was more different stipulations coming out and everything. I mean, yeah, we got the hardcore title match coming up next, which is a fatal 4-way. So we're continuing there the rivalry with Wario and Luigi, and we're going, and then Knuckles is coming in here just because we want to push him into something else. I was trying to make the illusion, the original plan was it was just going to be a triple threat, and we were going to have Nightmare in there, but we weren't going to have Knuckles in there because I wanted this to feel like now he's retained the Money in the Bank and he's had this rivalry with Mandy. There goes the time for this part. So I was saying, so I didn't. I wanted to have that feeling. I'm going to say it in a minute. That Knuckles, if Knuckles isn't on the show, is he going to cash in now because he's finished his rivalry with Mandy and retained his Money in the Bank and he's got it? So is he going to cash in the Money in the Bank? But then that idea kind of sank. And I said, well, what if we stick him in and we just make it a fatal 4-way match, because the triple threat match in this game is actually more harder than a fatal 4-way, because when it comes to pinfalls and everything, because the other person will just come along and break it up. So fatal 4-way made it a lot more, and we didn't have really very many available participants. So I just said, we'll put Knuckles in there and we'll make it the second match of the night, and we can still have that itching feeling. We might have suggested it a few more times. I don't know, during the event that Knuckles might cash in after the Iron Man match that was scheduled to obviously be the main event between Shadow and Bart, which also has its own stipulation that if Shadow lost, he wouldn't get another championship match. And that was actually kind of tempting at first, that maybe Bart should retain, but then or at least one. Well, it didn't matter which one would win, but say if we had Shadow win, and then Knuckles comes out and cashes in instead, and then he wins the title off of Shadow, and then we had a Knuckles Shadow feud. I don't know if anyone would be interested in that, but I certainly was at the time, and it was tempting because at the end of the day they're going to be on the same show still after the draft, or at least that's what I was hoping. But there was a good chance that they were going to stay on this show, because I know at this point we were going to move Mandy over to Raw, because the rivalry with her, and I thought it was kind of stupid them being on different brands and having a rivalry, so let's move Mandy over. And Star did want Knuckles still on the on Raw, so I said, okay, we'll have him on Raw. We won't move him over to SmackDown. especially if he had money in the bank, because I thought the World Championship was obviously more prestige than the YouTube title, and that's what Knuckles would be gunning for if he was on SmackDown. So keep Knuckles on Raw, move Mandy over. That's one thing that I knew for sure was going to happen. So there you go. But that was the original plan, have Knuckles and... if it wasn't for the Mandy thing, then we needed Mandy to get a push and whatever. But everyone's just shaking my fist at me now. We would have had Knuckles versus Shadow for the championship. And obviously Bart would have gone over to SmackDown, so he wouldn't have been a factor. So it would have been just those two. And I don't know who would be the heel out of those two, because I think these two are currently faces. But I guess we would have turned Knuckles into a heel for the action of cashing in after, Shadow's big victory finally over Bart. But didn't go that way. What was to be never became. Oh, hello. We got old Nightmare back. What the hell? I thought you changed him. Yeah, I guess we just changed him back. So we got Retro Nightmare back again at Summer Strike. Oh no, no! I remember why we changed him. I think it's coming back. I think I remember. Let me get it out. It's because we had Knuckles in there, so it was simply a case of we don't want too many red people, or we don't want. Wait a minute. No, it's because I don't know. I don't even know what I'm saying. But no, I think it was Nightmare. I might have got confused with Luigi because of the blue. Now, I take it all back. I don't know why I changed it back. I guess it's just to say that Nightmare's changing. Either that or it was Summer Strike and it was red, so it was Summer Strike because red is hot colour. I don't know. I don't know. Or just say because we wanted to change it on a regular fashion. I think that's what we were doing. Just at regular intervals and everything. So yeah. Yeah, so oddly enough, this is a Raw match, even though there's two of the participants in this are actually drafted over at this point to SmackDown, which is Nightmare and Wario got drafted over. So it feels weird seeing these four in the ring at the same time, as it would. But hey, there you go. So this was just a really fun match to make, wasn't it? Because it's a Fatal 4-Way Hardcore match. Yeah, and I kind of like having Fatal 4-Way Hardcore matches if nobody can ever tell. I don't know why, they're not that exciting, but they're damn fun to watch, and they're even more entertaining to try and call all the action. So I'm being really coughy today. The cold is transferring onto me from the video. But no, because it's a nice test for us two, and it really gets us in the spirit of things, to be on target and everything, and trying to call all the action that's going on. Sometimes we just completely give up and start talking about stuff, but we turn into the WWE commentary team. But no, but it's a nice test for us because we've got to be on the ball with everything, and it gets us refocused, or just completely focused in on the action, doing what we should be doing instead of doing other things, even though we do tend to do other things otherwise. But I try and keep you always on the ball. I just say, shut up and call the match. That's the one. Yeah, I like doing that. So please continue to stop talking about matches, because that's become like a catchphrase for me now. Yes, it has. So yeah, I guess we should keep up that kind of theme. But it's kind of like it is a message to the WWE saying, shut up guys and start doing what you're supposed to be doing, like what he does with me. I mean, it's fair enough if I go off the ball, because technically this isn't my job, even though I want to do it, and I hate it when I do go off target. But it's like those guys are being employed by a company that's worth so much money and being watched by so many people. They should be doing they should actually be doing their jobs, and for the most part they don't, and we actually do. So that's my defense of saying if we aren't doing our jobs, we're not we're much better than the guys on the WWE commentary team who don't hardly do anything to do with the match. So there we go. Now they just talk dumb as of late, because I still watch it, and they just say stupid things. So, okay, well, we don't go that far. We do have our goofy moments, but we don't go that far. That's for sure. So I think Warrior was supposed to still retain this, because I didn't know who to put the Hardcore Championship on at any time, and it just seemed best with Warrior because he's that kind of person and that persona that is crazy enough to use weapons and go mad and everything. And then oddly he fell into darkness after this, after the draft. I don't know if he did appear on the draft. I'll have to check that out when we come to recording that one. Oh dear. Well, have I got a really bad cough? Wario kind of, but then we tried to work into a storyline that Cyrus didn't want Wario as a champion on his show because Wario is a disgusting piece of whatever, and who could care about him and everything. He doesn't. So Cyrus, being the heel person he is, saying what he wants on his show, continued with Wario. And then he came back at No Mercy and had his, I think, a hardcore match with Nightmare. Might have been, yeah. I think it was. So yeah, this is going from one rivalry to another, I suppose, after this. Which makes sense. Yeah, coffee. And then we, I think we... we put the belt on Nightmare. There's the time end. So that's that story. Settled and done. So what was the situation with voice actors at this point? Because I know things had changed at this point. We had... everyone's on the announce table. Hurrah. Well, all four of us. What a calamity. So voice actors, yeah. Sorry. So we'd lost Mandy at this point, which is why you became the mouthpiece, and so you had to be an extra big supporter of her, which I really hated. But hey, I think I did a good job nonetheless, no matter how much I hated it. I said, right, I'm going to push the envelope with this because I'm going to make it so I don't hate it, and I start believing my own bluff. So yeah. That was that decision, was it? Yep. So that's why I really pushed the envelope out and saying, right, I'm going to start trying to really make Mandy seem much more legitimate, because that's what she needs to be, because I don't like this one bit and no one else is, so I'm going to try and make her the biggest heel ever and the most hated person, and I'm going to believe my own hype. End of story. So we still had Sonic, I think, at this point. He was kind of lingering, but he did do a performance prior to this, I believe, with Mario, because we had a match with Mario versus Tails. Now my memory is really being tested. But yeah, I think we had a match just before this on SmackDown between Mario and Tails, and then obviously Mario wins, and then Sonic came out to attack him and all that Shazam. And then he did that we did a little performance where we had Sonic crouching down looking at Mario on the floor, which was kind of nice. Nice to edit as well, because we were using the gold dust kind of taunt where he just ducks down on the floor looking at you. Yeah, that thing. And we gave it to Sonic and we just had him do that in front of Mario, and we had it on a little loop or whatever. So that was kind of cool. and he really did a good job, I think. So, other voice actors. Obviously, we still have Wario, and we still have Manic. There's still a lot of people that have stuck around with the show for quite some time, and it's amazing, the testament. And I'm still in contact with them now, and they're all up for, coming back. I think Manic really likes doing it, even though he doesn't like wrestling. But he does an awesome Manic voice. I've always told him, like, wow, you sound like actually him. I think a few other people have agreed with that in the comments, saying, Manic sounds like Manic. Actually sounds like the 100% real deal, the real Manic, which is amazing. And he's a big fan of Sonic Underground and the cartoons in general, but he really likes the Manic character. And so that's why he tried to do the voice, he told me. And, and he does a really good job at it, and he's so pro. And I actually I am a Manic fan as well. But hey, that hasn't proved to be a biased thing. I haven't put Manic on a pedestal on the show. And he doesn't mind, he still enjoys just doing the voice work at the end of the day, because he doesn't watch it. He just enjoys it, doing the work, because he loves doing Manic's voice and being Manic just in any kind of situation. So I don't think we're going to lose him in a long time. And if Manic, if you are watching this at all, then you are awesome at your job, and I think everyone will agree with me on that one. So yeah, Manic is definitely the best voice actor. Not disregarding anyone else. We've had some really good people on here doing the show, but definitely Manic is one of the best ones we've got. Definitely, and it's a joy to have him and come over to record stuff. So yeah, we've still got Manic, and he's probably never going to leave. Please don't leave. I don't think anyone wants you to leave. You're doing a great credit to the show, and I appreciate that very much. So we also lost a Tails voice actor, speaking of that. We needed another one urgently, because I was thinking he was going to stick around. We didn't actually pick one up until a bit later, so I was starting to panic, because that storyline between him and Manic and Tails was starting to kick off, and I wanted the two of them to exchange words instead of having matches, because that's how we do most of the rivalries here, because we don't have voice actors for these characters. So the best way sometimes to do it is to have just a face-off or a promo or whatever, just insulting each other, or building up the rivalry and the storyline and everything. So I was really panicking that we lost Tails at this point. I think he might have been stuck around. I don't know if we've lost him here. We just might have after the draft, which is why I started to really panic, because I wanted that storyline to kick off. And we couldn't. So, yeah, getting really anxious at that point. And not long after, we were going to lose Sonic's voice actor. It was incredible. And I was auditioning for other voice actors. I think I might have got a few, but I don't know if they weren't any good. I did say that, I don't care what you sound like, as long as you sound like a convincing kind of Sonic heel character, then I would accept you. But I didn't really get many good ones back, if I got any at all, if I recall. I had some people suggesting you should look for this guy, but it's like I haven't got the time to look. I need people to come in and say I can do this. Because I always just throw it out there. Do you want to become a voice actor for the ASF? And that's still the case now. If there's a voice out there that someone can do, and you want to audition, then go ahead. Because the more the merrier, and you get to and if you're a fan of the show, then you get to see the script ahead of everyone else, because you have to say it. And you probably get, if you're interacting with anyone else, you get to see their script as well, so you get to see the whole scene. So that's a little bonus for anyone who does want to do voice acting for the show, if you want to see things ahead, because even though the show's nearing an end, we've still got potential there for more people to say things. We've recently got a Metal Sonic voice actor who's kind of weird. He edits his voice so much that you can't almost audibly understand it, but I think you can understand it enough. I hope he isn't listening, because I still want a voice for Metal. I might tell him to X-nay on the effects-nay. Because it seems like he piles on too much effects. But yeah. So we got that, at least, which I'm grateful for. I'm grateful for any voice I can get a hold of, because like I said, it helps with the show, and it helps with storylines and plot and rivalries and everything, rather than just having bland old matches, which is what I don't want at the end of the day. Because, if you have too many matches, then you run out of too many match potential ideas. So that's why we kind of separate characters on different shows, so that there's still potential there, because this character hasn't had a match with this character because they've been on different shows or whatever. So, that's why we do the brand split, if because when we still do the brand split, and I will still do the brand split as the show continues and progresses and whatever form it takes in, because it creates that excitement that these two haven't faced each other, and if they have, it hasn't been for a long freaking time, because they haven't been on the same show, to try and keep everything fresh and rotated and everything. So yeah, voice actors, if you feel like you can do voices for the show, contact me in any way, shape or form. PM, a comment, anything on the ASF forum. I will leave a link in the description. Speaking of the ASF forum, God, this hardcore match is dragging on. I don't think we'd still be talking about it. Well, we're not talking about it, we're talking about other stuff. That's how long it is. I will post another link to the description on the ASF forum to the one night only event, because the time is getting very near for closing dates, because the voting closes at the end of the year on January the 1st for what will be the next one night only event, which will be coming up on the 25th, I think, of January, because that's the time that the WWE is going to do their Royal Rumble. I almost said mascot rumble there. you just be careful with your words there. They don't have a mascot rumble, and we don't have a Royal Rumble. End of story. Yeah. So yeah, the next one night only event, still all the votes are up for grabs. Vote for what theme you want of the night, and bonus stipulation you want, or stipulation or whatever, and get voting, and I will leave a link in the description. So get voting, get those votes in, hurry up, because who knows, you might get what you want out of the next one night only event, because I think they are becoming reasonably popular, because I still see a lot of numbers and viewers watching the show, watching the one night only event. So have your say. I say, because that's what the ASF is all about, and I know I keep saying it, but that's what it really is all about. Is what the fans want, and what the fan interaction. I always want fan interaction. That's what I always want, because you reap the benefits then. You make people feel like more a part of the show, which is what I want people to do, because it's hard to get into a wrestling show that's being used over a video game. So just become as much a part of the show as you possibly can. If we had a live crowd, I'd want them to interact with the talent or whatever, but we don't. So this is my way of saying, get in touch with the show, and make it yours. Because I don't want to make it mine at the end of the day. I want to make it everyone else's. Even though we keep saying we'd still do this show even if no one was hardly watching. It's a bit like the indies. We'd perform in front of even if there was one person in a seat there, we'd still do this show. But we're just telling you, if you're 100% behind the show, then make yourself a part of it even more and get involved in more stuff. That's what I did start the ASF forum about, because I didn't want to necessarily be, owning a forum necessarily. I just wanted a place where people could talk about the ASF and the events revolving around it. That didn't turn out to be much of a success, but hey, we've still got the forum, and I still use it for announcements and stuff, so it's all there. And like I said, I will provide a link in the description. There goes a table, courtesy of a punch. I knew we were going to get one of those eventually. Oh look, time's up. So Warrior didn't retain, we just had a time up draw. No wonder this match went on so long, and that's a nice finishing picture. I don't know how we sold this, because there we go, we got Warrior with a victory. Hooray. We had Nightmare lying on the floor there. There's symbolism for you, for future stuff to come. Oh dear. Oh, that's knackered me out watching all that. Go. That match was long. It didn't say it was going to go to a time limit, but hey, I guess Warrior retains because of a time limit draw. So there you go. Oh, that's good. You enjoying yourself over there? Are you enjoying yourself over there? Don't throw it back at me. Yes, I am. It's very nice. I have chicken. This is going to be a long... I don't know how long the draft is. We've got to do that after this. Super duper. You like doing these, admit it. I guess I do. Hey, I didn't force you to come over here, you know. Yes, you did. You hold me at gunpoint saying, "Do the ASF now." Yeah, sorry folks, I'm going to be eating because it's kind of lunchtime here. He's already eaten, way ahead. He's way ahead of the game, but I'm not. That proves how organised both of us are. So, TLC match. For the tag team titles, up ahead. I've actually forgotten how good this match is, or how bad it is. I don't remember a lot about it. So this should be fun and entertaining for me to watch even. I know obviously he was going to win, but I can say that we had the incorrect winner for this match. So this match must have been good, because I just said, fuck it. Because the match was really good, and I wanted to keep it the way it was. So even if we got the wrong winner, either that or I just gave up because this match just took too many tries to get the right winner out of it. Because the original plan was to have... this was the start between Manic and Tails. Because I knew they were going to stay on SmackDown. That's one of the part of the draft that I was safe in knowing, that these two were going to stick around, because we wanted to separate the Sonic DX team. So I knew Sonic was going to go over to Raw, and then the faction would break up essentially. And this would be the beginning of it, with Manic failing to get the tag team titles, or losing the tag team titles, I should say, because they are the champions at this point, I believe, maybe? I forget. We're about to be reminded. Come on, Tails, his name thing, pop up. Okay, they're not the tag team champions. No, the other guys are. So yeah, so that was the plan. So they were going to lose their tag team ownership. Yeah, because that's what we did, because it was all down to this Cyrus storyline of his control, and he put Lisa and Homer in the tag team title match with Mandy and Billy, and they've obviously won. And so, they're pissed because they didn't get their title match, and now they're getting it, and once again they lose their shot, and Tails gets pissed off at Manic. And then that storyline begins. Essentially. So, yeah, that's how we were going to set things up. But, sadly, Manic and Tails actually win this match. But it was, like I said, it was probably actually a pretty good match. So I just said either that, or we just had too many attempts, so I just had to say sod it. Because the show was pressing for time. And then we had another match on SmackDown after the draft here, with the tag team titles on the line. And it was just a basic one-on-one or a tag team pinfall match, first fall to a finish, and we had Lisa and Homer win them back, which made them 3-time tag team champions, unintentionally. But hey, it puts them on the map a bit more, I guess. So that's all good. So that's what we did. And that's how it went. But the original winners were supposed to be Lisa and Homer here to kick off the storyline. I don't know who would be happy with what. You can tell me, or you don't. You can't tell me. You don't have to. They're probably not. No. No, you're too cruel. So I simply had this match idea, and the premise that it's Summer Strike, and what's Summer Strike without a TLC match? It's almost like it should be a regular thing, because in Retro ASF that's what we did, and of course they had the first ever TLC match in the WWE at SummerSlam. So this is the equivalent of that. So it's kind of become a thing to have. So this was a bit of Retro ASF coming back out to play. Is we have a tag team TLC match for the titles. So this was that decision, and that's why we have a TLC match here for this event. And we probably always will. I hate to break it to everyone, but hey, the next Summer Strike we're going to have another TLC match for the tag team titles. But hey, that's something to look forward to, because these matches aren't bad. They don't ever turn out bad. It's always just the winning outcome is really difficult to get, obviously. So yeah. So if you see someone winning on this event, thank you, Lisa, for smashing that table with the ladder. But if you see a victory at the next Summer Strike with a team, and then you see a tag team title match on the event afterwards, then you'll know that they weren't supposed to win. Is that really what we're gonna do? Oh yeah, sod it. I can't change it up now. I've said it, so I've got to do it. They're going to stick me to it, unless of course we do get the accurate winner for it. Oh yeah. He likes giving away what we're going to be doing in the future too much. Well, makes suspense. Is it going to happen or is it not? Like I said, if you know the ins and outs of how we do things, it adds that little air of more of excitement. Yeah, it just adds that air of excitement about the show. That little bit extra, like, oh no, this is going to happen now, and this is how things are going, and because I know how he thinks now. No, that's what we're doing this for, is just to tell you how we do things, so you can learn our methods, and for those educated fans out there, you can use it to your advantage and, expect the inevitable, or we might be able to shock you some other way because we might think differently. Now they're going to be expecting that, though. The key word here is surprise. I thought it was unpredictability. Now it's surprise. Oh, unpredictable surprise. There you go. It's kind of a combination of both things, isn't it? I guess. Don't seem very happy about that. Never happy about anything. Yeah, awkward silence, but that's only because I was having a drink. Did Manic just fall through the table there? I think he might have. I don't know. Did he fall through it or what? I don't know. Whatever happened there, it happened. Oh, there you go. We got 3 chairs. Hooray. Have you seen the new game with the current TLC match? No, I haven't. I haven't looked at the new game at all. I don't even have the new game. I'm not interested in the new game. The 2K14 will be the last wrestling game I ever pick up in a long, long while. Unless another wrestling game is out that isn't owned by the WWE, then I'll buy it and check it out or whatever. For the simple reason of fascination. But no, I haven't seen the. Is it more crazy than what it used to be? Yeah, I guess it is. The tables now look more realistic. How do you know this? I've looked it up. Oh, so you don't have it? No, I don't have it. No. I don't play video games, like I said. I just thought it'd be worth mentioning, seeing as we're playing a video game. I'd look up what's the current day video game look like. And sometimes I do wish you'd move it up a notch so that we get better graphics and everything, because it does look more like you could pace the matches out a lot better because it's more slow and more authentic and everything. Or is that a bad thing? That's a bad thing, because I like action, if anything, in a wrestling match. The old wrestling games, Eggman. I'm talking to you about wrestling games. It feels weird, but there you go. The old wrestling games were really action-packed and really fun to play, just like this one. And the newer games are really slow and really boring, and that's the last thing we want, is slow boringness. I guess so, because the last thing you want is what happens in the actual WWE, which is also very slow and boring. So yeah, I don't think you'd want that. This is definitely more entertaining on that kind of level, I guess, on that front. So, but I'm not one to say. I'll just be quiet over here. That's what you've been doing for the most part, so never mind. But it took them long enough, because I think that the tables didn't have that patch of that underneath texture, but now they actually do. They have the black underneath. I pay attention to these things. I'm very observative. Yes, you are. Anyway, we're not here to talk about the new shitty game. We're here to talk about the show. What's there to talk about then? Come on, hit me with it. Well, I guess, as something rather amusing we can do right now is, I was thinking, what if the ASF used TNA themes instead of the WWE themes? Because if you noticed, I have started using, one of them at least, I've started using the beginning of Kurt Angle's theme from TNA for Mario. Because I don't know why, but it's kind of like it makes the Mario's entrance a little bit more special, seeing as the intro for his entrance isn't that spectacular. And seeing as Sonic has this big, huge one, we should give one to Mario. He should have equal rights, baby. So that's why I used that. I haven't used any others though, but I was thinking to myself, what if ASF had TNA themes? What would they be? So go on then, what are they? Well, that's what I've been trying to think of all this time, and I haven't come up with an answer. Just hit me with a theme, and I'll try and fit it to someone. Okay, let's see. AJ Styles, get ready to fly and all that. Well, I'd give it to Tails. There you go. Get ready to fly with Tails. Whee! Okay, fair enough. Oh dear, what am I doing? Let's see. I'm going to name someone from the ASF, and you're going to tell me what theme they would have. Fair enough? Instead of me trying to think of a theme. I guess that'd be easier. That'd be more harder for me, so go ahead. Okay, let's see. Let's have... What would you give Manic? You took the easy way out there because he's on the screen, isn't he? No, I didn't. Okay, Manic, let's see. I don't know, because the reason I picked Cena's theme for Manic in the first place is, it's not because I hate him, and because, if you notice, Cena's theme has a beat to it, like a drum beat, a constant drum beat. And what does Manic do on a TV show? Something you don't know. Is he plays drums, and he plays them to a constant beat all the time when he does. So I thought that would be really nice just to have as a theme, because of the constant drum beat is why I picked the Manic's theme to be seen as. So if it was someone in TNA, I'd have to look for someone with that same kind of a big drum beat, a constant drum beat, like that was audible. You know, the bass was strong and whatever. And Tails is going up, and he's got it. There we go, end of the TLC match. That wasn't the best match on the planet. So I guess it just did come down to, you know, that I gave up and we just said, fine, I'll have another match on SmackDown and then I can make them win the tag team titles that way, or win, or retain them, or whatever. So we had some false winners here. But I guess that helped with the storyline. Now we can say they were once tag team champions, but it soon crumbled because they lost them straight after. I don't know if that helped with the storyline, if it made it awkward, but I don't know. Just whatever you think. Here comes the failing match. Sorry, I'm eating. The failing match here. Yeah, the failing match. Sorry. Right, I've swallowed it now. Good dear. So, yeah, what was I talking about? So, yeah, it was something with a drum beat in TNA. Can you think of one? Drum beat. No, I can't actually think. Man, that's got me... Man, this should be one we should leave up to the fans. You think? Yeah, go and post it out there. You go and post it out there. Okay, anyone out there who's listening to this, come up with an ideal theme for Manic that is a TNA theme, and it can be from any generation. It can be early TNA, and it can be, you know, current TNA, or it can be whenever, as long as it's from TNA. Come up with a theme for Manic for TNA, and it has to be within the confines of what he's got, which is a drum beat. It has to have a drum beat in it. If you're going to think of one, then give us an answer in the comments. Thank you. He's giving you the thumbs up. Yeah, do it. Yeah. So yeah, this match was a complete flip-flop. This Sonya versus Samus versus Takal. But like I said, it was something for them to do. We were trying to make it as interesting as possible. Well, you know, we had too much else to focus on when coming into this. So I just said, well, this would be a nice little filler match then in the show, even if it turned into a cage match. You know, we had a cage match as a filler. Wow. So, yeah. Oh well. But it was a nice break because we just had the TLC match, which were all very going over, and the hardcore match. So this was a bit of recovery time for us because I forget what match is after this. Let me check. Oh, the TLC, the Intercontinental title match, which is triple threat, which is really hard. But hey, you run out of people, didn't you? I did. And Knuckles didn't really seem fit to be putting into an Intercontinental title match. So I just left it being Chaos and Metal and thinking about when Knuckles was just put into the hardcore title match because it's more chaotic. Because the IC title match wasn't under hardcore rules, of course, so you're more restricted to what you can do. So, you know... So I didn't want it to be resulting in that, you know, because if someone got counted out in that match, they would have just been eliminated. Here we go, here's the fans vote match, here's the statistics coming up. There you go. We did get the most votes for a cage. No holds barred, that's supposed to be, but I didn't get I wasn't able to fit it in, so it's just no holds. The no holds match, you're not allowed to grapple each other. No holds whatsoever, you're just supposed to punch each other. But somehow he got a better vote than a table match did. Yeah, so the voting is accurate in that I had more votes for a cage than I did for the table, and I got more no holds barred votes than I did for a table match, but I didn't get more votes than a cage match for a no holds barred. So the voting there is accurate, but the percentages won't be accurate. Because like I said, I just doubled whatever amount we got out of it. I just said, there you go, now we can make percentages out of that look convincing enough. Because otherwise it would have been something like almost like it would have been in the 90% area for the cage, and I didn't want to make it seem like people were that interested because they weren't. So it was just like, yeah, 65% of our audience want a cage, so that's what we're gonna do. So there you go. You know, and 11% want a table, and because they're weird people like that. I'm just kidding. You're being very stubborn. Yes, I am. Thanks for pointing that out to me. So I wasn't really focused in on this match. I was just trying to make it just a decent, long enough match for us to catch our breath and just do whatever. And there's not a lot you can actually do in a cage match on this game. If anything, we should try to have more tag team cage matches, because then it adds a little bit of excitement to, you know, because both members have to escape out of the cage. I think we did that for Halloween, didn't we, this year? So yeah, it made it that little bit more fun to watch. Even though the after the first person went out, they all kind of went out straight away. But hey, the last thing you want is to have two people fighting in a cage. It's actually really boring, as you can't do a lot in it. So, you know, the triple threat match that we had in a cage at No Way Out was a bit better, because because every time someone tried to climb out, of course, because the minute someone climbs out in this game in the cage, you know, usually it's they get a definite win or whatever. So it's not that exciting at all. So I'm glad people picked this cage match, because it's really boring. There you go, the truth comes out. We're just going to blur anything. Certainly does. But yeah, I think we definitely needed a breather match, so I'm glad it was here. Seeing as we were both suffering from illness. You more so than me, and you're supposed to be doing the majority of the work, so just as well. Yeah. I've forgotten what our performances were like. I might watch it back in sound at some point. Just to treat myself, just see what kind of state we're in. It's always fun to look back at yourself and go, was that really me? Let's talk about more TNA themes, shall we? We've kind of got lost on Manic. What about Tikal? Oh, you cheat. Tikal, let's see. TNA theme for Tikal. And hey, we got a dive from the cage from Samus. Right. That was nicely placed as well. Elbow drop. Yeah. There you go. We got a highlight out of this match. Hooray. Even though no one was interested in it. Or hardly anyone. Considering our audience at the time, because we had we probably had 100+ watching the show at this point. And we only got like a bare few votes. So, you know, that proves how uninteresting it was at the time. A TNA theme for Tikal. Let me think. I'm thinking one of the Japanese guys. You know, the Japanese theme they have for Tajiri as of late, when he came in. That theme I'm talking about, that theme there. They used it for someone else as well. I forget who. I've forgotten his name as well. But I know who you're talking about. You're wrecking my brains now. Hey, Samus wins. Samus wins. I thought it'd be best for Samus to win, because Samus looks more tough looking than Tikal, so have Samus win. Because it was all evened up, because they already had 2 matches prior to this. So this was the final match to decide who was the better of the two, and it was Samus. So there we go. So yeah, so the Tajiri theme for Tikal would be that one, I suppose. So there you go. There's a theme for Tikal for you from TNA. Okay then. So, Intercontinental title match up next between Metal Sonic and Metal Knuckles, coming off their feud from the Hell in a Cell at Bad Blood. So we were carrying over the momentum and making them seem like they were really dangerous and could do anything, and and Chaos was the Intercontinental title holder. So I said this would be a nice time for Chaos to be challenged to defending the title. Can he defend it against these two monsters? Because I think Chaos at this time was actually being a bit of a tweener. He wasn't necessarily a full-blown heel, and he wasn't necessarily a full-blown face at the time. When he was with Link, he was a full-blown monster heel kind of character. And then when we made him win the Intercontinental title, we kind of segued into being partly face and partly heel. Because the only face otherwise in this match would be Metal Sonic. So Metal Knuckles is the heel for sure. Coming into this match, we didn't put a lot of effort, if I remember, into it. It was just put up there and said, "Here you go," and what's going to give, because it's these three monstrous, characters performing in the same match over the Intercontinental title. And it was just a big Intercontinental title fight, which is what every title match should be. And I've said that before, but hey, it needs to be said. The title matches need to stick with just that. They need to be title matches. Who's the best and who's going to be getting this championship and walking out with it? Just who should be rightfully the champion. So that's what I was kind of getting this vibe out of. And of course, like I said, we were just continuing the rivalry between Metal Sonic and Metal Knuckles. I think this might have been their last match, actually, before they separated into their own separate storylines and whatnot. I think Metal Sonic actually, he did. He went into a storyline with Chaos, because, like I said, at this point he was a tweener. So I said, well, let's make him feud with Chaos, and then Chaos can be a heel again. And that'll be a nice trial for those two while it lasts. And then, of course, they're in the elimination match together with at Survivor Series over both the titles. So, it all helped with that as time went on. And Metal Knuckles did something else. I forget what. He was in some kind of match in Unforgiven, I believe. I've forgotten myself. We both have a nasty habit of forgetting at the same time. the same things. Yeah, the important thing is this was the last match to end the rivalry, so to speak. He was going to walk away with the title and whatever. So there you go. Hey, Eggman, I've got some good news. Yeah, what's that? We're halfway through this show. Oh, super. Yeah, pretty much halfway through now. So, we still got another good hour to go. And that was a really long hour, the first one, unless it's just been us talking about stuff. But hey, there you go. We've been talking about stuff. That's what we came here to do, is talk about stuff. I'm going to have a drink. Fuel. That's what I need. I might need to get some fuel in a minute. Well, you're entitled to. You can go off and go and get something. I'm sure you'll find some kind of beverage in my fridge. So yeah, here we go. And we open up with a double team chokeslam. Hooray. See, they're really buddies deep down inside. So yeah, this is this kind of match. I just wanted to be hard hitting, just a lot of big impactful moves. I think we delivered that all in all. That's what it became. Instead of being technical or whatever, I was just looking to maim in this match whoever I was playing as. It was probably Chaos. So yeah. Because I always like Chaos being that slow, calculating being and walking around instead of running around. Whereas Metal Sonic and Metal Knuckles can get away with that. They can run around a bit. But Chaos, I like being this slow, calculating monster that likes to maim people. I actually got the inspiration to make Chaos the way he is from the game Sonic Battle for the Game Boy Advance, I think it was for. If anyone knows that game. And as you know, you can play as Chaos in that game, and he's a really slow character, but he's really powerful all the same. But I was trying to mimic that with Chaos here in this environment, just make him really slow, but really at the same time really powerful. And that's exactly what I pulled off. And now, of course, he has the persona and gimmick of the unpinnable one, which I believe started around this point because even Metal Sonic was having trouble. I think the match for Unforgiven was a 2 out of 3 falls match, of which Chaos actually won 2 straight falls, just to make him that much more impressive. I forget though. Metal Sonic might have got a victory, but it might have not been through a pinfall. So yeah. So this, I think, is when the unpinnable thing started, and that's how long it's been going for, all the way back here. I forget how he got eliminated at Survivor Series, but it wasn't necessarily a victory. I think he got counted out eventually, didn't he? Yeah, I think he did. Yeah, you're right. So, yeah, this was definitely when the unpinnable gimmick started, or at least it happened afterwards, that we started saying, you know, Chaos should be made to be more of a monster, and, you know, shouldn't be able to be pinned. I don't know who came up with that idea. It might have been you, it might have been me. It was one of us. I think it was yours. Right, okay. Because I don't recall bringing that up at all. Right, so it's my idea. There you go. Sounds good to me. I don't want to be blamed for that idea, and that terrible, terrible idea. Oh, shut up. No, I take it all back. It's a good idea. Because now the other combatants either are trying to pin him or trying to look for another way to win against him. So it makes Chaos that little bit more hazardous when he's in a match with someone. And it gives him that presence. You know, we can't pin him, so we got to get rid of him another way if we're to give this other character a victory, or if this other person is to have a victory. Actually, I'm glad you brought that up because you said character. Because we have terminology here in the ASF, and we've never actually mentioned it, but now's the time to mention it. More specifically, I think I brought this up some other time, but then I forgot completely about the fact that I mentioned it, and it was the fact that the WWE, the people in there are called superstars, okay, and the TNA call them wrestlers or whatever. But the ASF doesn't use either word. We don't use guys, or we don't use superstars. We don't use the words wrestlers. What the ASF uses is we call them all-stars. Which is a bit confusing considering the ASF does actually stand for all-star fighters. But that's what they are called. They are called all-stars. So there you go. Call them all-star fighting all-stars. But that's what we only say ASF. We don't say the whole name. We just say ASF. But so if you're going to use the terminology, call them ASF All-Stars. There you go. ASF All-Stars. We have never used that. But yeah, that's kind of unique, I suppose. Because I'm going along with the theme that it's multiple different characters from the video game universe. So, you know, based off the Mario All-Stars game, which is a very old game. But hey, I'm going to use that. And we've had Kirby All-Stars as well, even though Kirby isn't actually in the ASF. Who the fuck is Kirby? I knew you were going to say that. So there you go. So ASF All-Stars. Start using that terminology. Don't call them superstars. That's just gay. Not that being gay is bad by any means, but you know, I'm just saying it's just a bad name all in all for someone who isn't. You know, I always like referring to them as wrestlers for the most part, but hey, you got to say WWE superstars, even though they're far from it. So, ASF All-Stars, get it embedded in your head. I think we might start saying it more often when the show comes back. I think we might. I mean, you told me that that's their correct terminology, but you've always said to not say it for some reason. I've always said to not say it so that then people can just call them what they want instead of us categorizing them. But the official name that I've decided on is All Stars, ASF All Stars. So if you want to use the correct terminology, then you can. But if you want to use something else apart from superstars, don't call them superstars for God's sakes. Just don't. I hate that name. It's stupid. And I always have ever since it started. Blame me, CW, I suppose. A lot of people blame that show for a lot of stuff. So yes, ASF All Stars, or you can call them wrestlers, I don't mind, or you can call them fighters or brawlers, or just call them anything you want, but not All Stars. Call them morons or assholes. Yeah, I don't care. Just call them what you want. ASF assholes. That's got a ring to it, oddly enough. What have I started? What have you started indeed? Well, you started that. Yeah, I have. You started munching on the mic. Munching on the mic. I like that. Yeah. Munching on the mic. I've started munching on the mic. Anyway, moving on. Yes, moving on indeed. Oh, you're grabbing your drink again. God damn it. Sorry. Yeah, should we work with more TNA themes, or is that becoming boring? I don't know. Do what you want. What other matches have we got coming up? So we got, there's only 3 matches after this, so we span them over all that time. But hey, we got the 30-minute Iron Man match to go through. We might not sit through all of that, who knows? Because we might have covered everything we need to talk about at that point, and we'll just be sitting here like lemons. Speaking of which, there's the next part gone, so that's good. So yeah, I don't want us to sit here like lemons, because we know the ending, but if you don't, then go and watch it. But the winner is Shadow. Actually, we can talk about that now, actually, yeah. Because that was another thing I knew about the draft coming up, is the fact that Bart was going over. And Shadow was staying on Raw. So I thought, well, I don't want the world title to go with... Because ironically enough, I didn't actually ever want Shadow to be the champion. I didn't think that fitted his persona and such, but that's why he's the Intercontinental Champion so far, and I'm enjoying him as the Intercontinental Champion at the moment. But yeah, I never envisioned Shadow being a champion on the show. He's not that kind of person. So, but in the case of the draft, because we wanted to move Bart over to SmackDown due to other people's decisions or whatever. You know, because I wanted to make sure the general managers had their last say, A.K.I. be Star at this point. I wanted Star to say, you know, who would you like to work with on Raw? You know, seeing as you're giving me decisions. There's a DQ. I forgot all about that. Metal Sonic just got disqualified for some bizarre, stupid reason. So it's a good job we've got Chaos as a tweener right now, because otherwise it's 2 heels duking it out. But yeah. So we needed the championship to change hands for that simple matter that I didn't want the world title to go over to SmackDown, because otherwise we would have been in dire straits, because I didn't want Astros to be on Raw. So I knew that much at least, so it was definitely a case of, right, Shadow needs to win the title tonight. But as of course I didn't know up until that point that Bart was either going to stay on Raw or go over to SmackDown. but he was, so we had to make that decision at the last minute. That was kind of a last minute decision when I came to recording the match. In fact, I said, "Well, wait a minute, I don't want him to win. He needs to lose the title in that case, and then I'll just change hands with whoever." Because of course, Shadow's championship reign is very short lived because he loses at Unforgiven, which is the event after this. Well, we have it in a triple threat, much similar to this one, except no one gets disqualified, I don't think. And there you go, Chaos is going to win by count-out, perhaps, and get 100% victorious over both the opponents. So that was kind of a nice ending, I suppose, even though he technically didn't beat Metal Sonic. But I think now that's why we inspired to have Metal Sonic face Chaos, was because of that disqualification, that accidental disqualification that happened. So like Metal was, you didn't beat me, so now you got to beat me twice or whatever in this 2 out of 3 falls, and lo and behold, Chaos did, being the monster heel he is. So yeah, so we needed the title to change hands, and then Shadow would have lost it, and he did lose it straight afterwards because it was like, that isn't him. I can't have him as the main focus, but I can have Mario as the main focus because it was about time I gave something Mario to actually do, and the best way to make him important is to give him the championship. So he's got a presence on the show. And so I thought that'd be a great way to carry over the Sonic and Mario rivalry, which is starting off here, or being relit, as it were, but for YouTube audiences, because they've never seen it before. But before that, we've got this YouTube Championship match. This was again another filler. This was simply to give Astrov something to do. And I thought, well, wouldn't it be great now that let's give Cyrus maximum heat, and now that he's taken my robot off of me in storyline purposes, we can have him face Astroth now for the championship, and that'll be Cyrus pulling his weight, so to speak, and being the heel general manager and wanting things his way instead of other people's way. Which is why I always thought, the Sonic DX team was being a bit of was controversial in the fact that they wanted their own stuff, but Cyrus wouldn't give them it, which would give them that face edge as well. Because it's totally unfair that he's calling the shots and how he's doing what he wants to do for his own benefits, but he's not doing it for anyone else. So doing that kind of storyline, and so this was to fulfill that. So I said, wouldn't it be great now that he's got the robot, that his robot has the championship match? So that's why this match is here, and I thought it'd be quite an interesting match to see these two monsters collide, because of course it was impossible before. So I said, well, let's just cut right to the chase and say Astrov, Cyrus robot in there now. And it'd be awesome just seeing these two standing next to each other and fighting, and it would look like a tough adversary also for Astrov, even though this is filler for us on paper, and to the audience it would look like this is a legitimate threat because he's got Cyrus's back, the general manager, the guy who is in charge of the show. And Astrov came up a little bit short at Vengeance, but that was only due to a referee decision. So his days were numbered as the champion here, and Cyrus could have a new reign of terror or whatever. But for us, backstage, or at least in behind the scenes, like we're talking right now, it was just filler. We needed something for Astrov to do, and I said, well, let's give Cyrus some more heat, and he can put the robot into the championship match, and have it his way or whatever. Now I'm going to eat some more. So. Look at it. What? Sorry, I'm just trailing off all of a sudden. But hey, this turned into a pretty good match, even though I wasn't intending it to be. Because now we were getting really pressed for time. Because, you know, I wanted this show to be big, but I didn't want it to be astronomically big, seeing as we did have to have a half an hour match coming up, which would be the Iron Man match. So I said, well, I'm going to try and, you know, evenly pace out the matches, but I'm going to make them so big. And this one was going to be one of those ones. It was going to be a bit of a squash, but it was going to be a kind of to and fro affair, and that's kind of what I pulled off, and it actually turned into a great little match to watch for everyone. And calmed everyone down by saying, no, Cyrus is not going to get the championship as well as the authority and the power. Astrof is the defiant champion for sure. So that, I think that put everyone's worries to rest when it came to that. You know, even though people, I don't know if people were getting tired of Astrof being the champion, but I certainly wasn't. I think it was definitely a challenge to book him, but it was even more fun to have have him involved in the matches that he was in. Because, like I said, Astrof has been in some great matches, being the champion, and he has being afterwards as well. He had a great match with Sonic, Vengeance. He had this was once again a nice little match, and we can see the Cyrus Robot is bringing the pain here. So you know, this was another good match, and then he had a it wasn't as good as his other ones, but then he had a really great match with Bart at No Mercy, which we'll be definitely talking about. I'll be so excited to be talking about that, and ironically enough, that's going to be, according to our timeline, Eggman, that's going to be, we'll be doing No Mercy on New Year's Day. Yes, you have a right to look like that. Great. I'm gonna be celebrating all night, and then you want me to come here the next day and talk about No Mercy. Oh, don't worry, I'll be fully pumped for it. We could even do it the night before if you wanted to, before we go and partay all night. Well, we can do that, I suppose. I don't know. Yeah. Astrof, and then he had a fairly good 3 stages of hell with Bart at Survivor Series, and then had a great first ever, what was it? It was the Soul Calibur Rules match at No Way Out. You know, he's just been in some really good matches, and his comeback with Dimension X was awesome. So yeah, I think Astrof has had ever since that match with Sonic, it's elevated him in a way. Yep. So you know, he's done the show a great benefit, and he's you know, it's you know, he got the rub off of Sonic, who's the big enough star, and then he was already huge enough as it was, but then it made him that little bit more important that he had that match with Sonic, and then it's just put him up there as one of the best people on the ASF now. That's for sure. He's a big powerhouse kind of character, and you know, that kind of works when it comes to, you know, kicking someone's ass, you know. Because you were saying, you know, you got a lot of small characters, so that's why you tried to get as many kind of big people from video games in as possible, which is why you brought in Nightmare and Astroth. Excuse me. Yeah, and this was the last man standing match also, I like to point out. So yeah, we were definitely bringing the pain and everything and all that. And already the Cyrus Robot has got the advantage here. So, you know, it had all the elements of being, you know, very worried for the championship and where it was going. So, yeah, what were we saying? About big people. Yeah, because I was looking at the roster and I was thinking, I need some big people in here. Because Retro ASF didn't necessarily have these big characters necessarily. We had characters from all kinds of shapes and sizes and whatever, because it was easier to obviously write them rather than make them in a video game. But when I came to the roster being minimalized for the ASF on YouTube, I could only make so many people. And when I looked at it, I said, I've got a lot of small people here, which is people I can make. So I've got to try and add people in that are big that I can also make. So that's why Astroth and Nightmare are in from the Soul Calibur games, still are, unlike the other guys from the Soul Calibur games. And also, there's me trying to prolong the match, I think, giving a leg drop to a 10 count for the Saurus robot because he didn't seem to last very long for some reason. But hey, it's like I can prolong this match until I want to now. And keep on hitting him, baby, until I give him an Astroth bomb or something. So we needed more big people, hence the birth of the A.K.I. robot, or the Cyrus robot as it is now referred to. We just needed another big person, because he wasn't the retro SF didn't have the Cyrus robot. So he was a new introduction. And also, like I said, he was there in case I wanted to stand up on the stage, but then we said Cyrus should be standing more on the stage because he's making more of the decisions on screen, that being, and I'm not. So give him the robot instead. We can have a match over that for a bit of fun. And people can see me in action and all that stuff. And then, and one of the big people, we had Homer, so that was one big person, so I was like, hooray, we had one big person already that I was going to be making for the show. Yeah, and we had Chaos, who's a big guy, I suppose. But other than that, we just needed more big people, so, you know, we needed some super heavyweights, or whatever you want to call them. So we got Astroth and Nightmare in. You know, they've proven their worth, and you know, I'm glad I've got them, and they've stuck around and whatever. So that is that. There was that nice little last man standing match, not too big but not too small, and quite all in all a fairly good match. They got even Stevens out on each other, and like it wasn't a one-sided match. It was just both of them beating the hell out of each other and getting an equal score almost. So here's the big one, Mario versus Sonic. This is the Raw main event. Well, it's not the Raw main event, you know, because the Raw main event is the Iron Man match. But this was like the second Raw main event. Now, hang on, these two aren't on Raw. What am I talking about? I was going to say, what are you talking about? These guys are on SmackDown right now. Yeah, so this is the SmackDown main event. That's why I messed up there. So this is the SmackDown's big main event, not the YouTube title match. With Mario versus Sonic, and it's the rivalry reborn, and it's the match that started off everything, you might say, because that's Mario's first ever match, which was a Mascot Mania, as it was known as back then. But you already know the origins of the ASF now was against Sonic. It was Mario versus Sonic, because who else is going to face off with each other in a main event about wrestling video games? I mean, these two were it. So there you go, and now we're starting it all over again here at Summer Strike. Hooray! So I'm glad I got this match out there, and it made sense as well, you know, because like Sonic was, the storyline was Sonic was saying, you know, you're treating Mario like royalty or whatever, and I'm getting treated like crap and whatever. So you know, I may as well give me the chance to prove that I can, you know, be at the top and you can respect me. We didn't know Sonic was going to be jumping over to the draft, although we had a good idea. So I thought, well, before they do that, let's have the match. Let's have a big Smashdown match and make it Sonic versus Mario, seeing as they are on the same show with each other. By the way, the original draft, we didn't actually have a choosing. We just went random, and we really did go random. We went right. So we had a bunch of names when we first started out. This is not for the draft coming up. This is for who was going to be on which show at the beginning, and then we just separate ourselves with all that. So everyone that you see or everyone that you saw on Raw and SmackDown at this time was all random drawing, and it wasn't our decision. And then we worked with whoever we got. And so we're seeing as Mario and Sonic were on the same roster at the time, I didn't know if they were going to change over, because I didn't know that Mario was going to change over. I thought he was going to stick around on Smashdown. So yeah. So again, the giraffe coming into play here. So I thought, well, we need a match between Mario versus Sonic, and it made sense to have it at this time, and it was one of our big events. Summer Strike is one of our big events, so I said, right, this needs to happen for the ASF, for the YouTube audience, because it's already happened. It's how the whole company started, so to speak, or how the whole show. I said I shouldn't call it company, but it's how the whole show began. You know, and that's how it should be, just with these two going at it once again, and you will get to see it in a new light, even if it's a different story this time. But hey, it's all part of the fun, and and for me personally, it makes a new load of light for the rivalry for me to have fun and experiment with, seeing as I had Sonic's voice actor to toy with at this time, to make a different scenario between these two, because it's always fun. But I always look at this match like Rock versus Austin. That's the kind of outlook I have for when these two clash ever. It's those two go. It's Rock and Austin fighting each other, just like it's Sonic and Mario fighting each other. You know, they used to be big time rivalries from different companies, Nintendo and Sega respectively, and it's great to see these two fighting in a wrestling environment. It's just makes me feel a little weird, but that's just me and my personal fetishes. God, TMI, man. Ah, dear. There you go. I'm living out a fantasy here with this match. So when I was doing it, I was like, yay, Mario versus Sonic all over again. Rock versus Austin, here we go. I'm surprised when we were calling the match, you didn't call one of them The Rock and one of them Stone Cold. I was tempted. in my cold, ill state, I could have accidentally said it, but luckily, I stuck to the words of Mario and Sonic. And once again, of course, we got the added stipulation that I'd make this more fun and ironic that the referee would have a 20 count in this match, which we can see here. Being utilised. So this match has got a 20 count stipulation. So yeah, there you go. Just to add it, I think that was Cyrus's decision. I forget, well, not Cyrus's decision, but he announced it. Whoops, didn't it? Yeah, but who actually came up with that idea? It must have been me. It must have been me. I was coming up with most of the show's ideas at this point. I said, it'd be really funny if they made it a 20 count match for the count outs. Just for more damage to be done on the outside and everything. And make this match a little bit more special than what it would be. Simply because this is in the confines of a video game, and I still wanted to make this match really epic and stuff, and the best way to do that is to have action on the outside as well as the inside of the ring, and give it a prolonged length of time, because they've done that in TNA before. Excuse me. Yeah, they've done that in TNA before, where they've had these big title matches or whatever, or just these big rivalry matches, and then the referees just let them go, and they've gone off and fought in the crowd. I think Samoa Joe had one of those matches and he did that flying drop kick from downstairs. So that's kind of what I thought that's what this match needed, is a bit more outside action to make that match just a little bit more rememberable. Even if it was a little bit restricted to what you can do on the outside, you can still smash them into the ring posts or on the barricades or into the announce tables or whatever. I wasn't planning to do a table spot here, and I don't think we did. Because we've already done 2 table spots already in this last man standing match that we just had, and in the hardcore match too, which ironically was both through the same table. So yeah, but I tried to make it, just as memorable as possible. I think the match turned out to be quite good all in all. In terms of a video game performance, anyway. But I was trying to save all our gas for the at this point for. Obviously, I wanted this match to be huge, but it wasn't going to measure up to the Iron Man match to come to follow up after it. So we had to kind of pull back a little bit with what I could do with this match, because I would have done a lot more with it if given the chance. But I made it as big as I possibly could, so that it didn't outshadow the next match. Pun not intended for that. What, the whole shadow thing? Yeah. Oh, we are going to have a table spot, are we? No, Sonic is being a retard. Don't you love it when they do that? Yeah, and there's me always when I'm recording the match saying, how the fuck am I supposed to call this? Always. I fancy doing a live recording of me doing a match at one point, so you can see the agony that sometimes I go through to record these matches. And I'm busy going. If something like I said, if they reverse an Irish whip onto the table, for some reason they don't get up onto the table until you get up. So they're busy just walking towards you, towards the table, in that stupid animation. And most of the time or not, I'm saying, well, how am I supposed to call this, you dumbass? It's being thick. But at the end of the day, we just say, it's a video game, so we can point out and break the fourth wall, and it's a video game, folks. Work with us. It's the AI. Blame the AI for that move right there. So that's what we end up usually saying. Or if we happen to be talking about something else, we can completely skip the fact that we just had a botch there. So yeah. Well, with the AI system of getting up on the announce table if we are talking about something else. So that's why it sometimes is a good thing just to trail off from the match and talk about events and whatever. Just in case something like that happens. So it's not always a bad thing, but if it ends up being that way, it ends up being that way, and we have to point it out that, the computer done effed again. It done goofed. Are you enjoying this match so far, Eggman? Yep. That was a very affirmative and quick answer. But yeah. I don't know if we had any amazing kick-out moments. Here comes Mario with a big leg drop. I suppose we're going to find out any minute now. Oh, there you go. I'm stalling, see? I was going to go for a second one. So let's see Sonic kick out of this one. Because I forget who was supposed to win this match. I think it was supposed to be Mario. I'm not 100% sure. Oh, wait a minute. I can check, can't I? Hello. Okay, it was Sonic. It's scheduled to win this match, so yeah. So I guess I'm just being Mario and prolonging the results. So there you go. That's proof that I don't always play as the winner. So yeah, this because I didn't know. Well, I had a vague, like I said, at the time I knew that Sonic was maybe going to be drafted over to SmackDown, or over to Raw. So it was just in case, because Sonic has finally proven himself to Cyrus, and now he's going to get treated like royalty, just like Mario is. But that was not the case, because they both went over to Raw. But there you go. It was worth it. We gave Sonic a big ass victory here. I think it might be coming up anytime soon now. I wish it'd hurry up. The suspense is killing me. Here comes one supersonic elbow drop, the move that defeated Astaroth, Eggman. Don't go into commentary with me, I'm not doing that. And there you go. Yep, Sonic got the victory. Always with the supersonic elbow, because that was, like I said, his original intended finishing move. Not anything else, just that. because it's a running move, and Sonic does running a lot, so I think he needed a running finisher. So I tried to end every match with the running finisher. But of course, in some situations you can't do that. You can't do the people's elbow maneuver in some matches because it's rather hard to pull off if it's a multi-person match, because they'll always try to interrupt it. That's one negative thing I can say about this game, is they'll always try and break up finishers if it's a multiple person match. And I'm like, why? Why do that? Why have this one person do the finisher and then you can do the finisher on this other guy and get the victory? It makes more logical sense, but I guess the AI wasn't programmed in that sense. It was just programmed to stop finishers being utilised, which again is a rather odd thing to be doing. You know, regardless of what you're doing in the game, if the AI is fighting itself over in another with two other people and you're doing a finishing move to the other, both of them will try to run over, at least one of them will run over and attempt to break up your finisher regardless, which is a bit of an odd move. But there you go. Because if anything, you should be breaking up pinfalls, not finishing moves, because you want everyone to be weakened down eventually. Oh well, I'll never understand that. I just guess I just have to put up with it. Which is why it's really hard to do some elimination matches on this event. If it's tag team, then that's easily done. But if it's fatal 4-way elimination matches, then it tends to be a bit stupid, and because you get breakups that don't need to be necessary in terms of pinfalls and finishing moves as well. So but I try to avoid elimination matches as much as possible. And if I do, it's elimination through another method, like say a table or some other kind of way, like a KO or a count out or whatever. So that's what I try and go for. So yes, this is for all the money, the caboodles. Here comes the World Championship match. We might not play all the way through this. We might call it a quit at some point. I will put the rest of the match up, but we just won't talk over it. And you'll just be able to watch the match. I don't know if this match is not available anymore on YouTube, but it should be. Because of course I've been downloading these through obviously my through the ability to you can see all your videos and which ones are copyright infringing or whatnot, and obviously I can still see all those and I can still download them. So there are some parts of this summer strike I know which can't be viewable by certain places or whatever. So I hope you can. If you missed it, then you can watch it through here instead of listening to us. Yeah, because you've just been talking a load of nonsense. So yeah, this was the World title match. It's the first time we've ever done an Iron Man match, and it's the only time we've ever done an Iron Man match. I actually don't have another one planned in the making at all, ever. We might do another one fairly soon, I don't know, but we won't be doing one for Mascot Mania. I know that much. So there's a spoiler already for you. No Iron Man match for Mascot Mania, okay? And I noticed this is only 20 minutes long, actually. So just as well. Because I thought it's long enough having half an hour, but these guys can fight for 20 minutes, because that's long enough, So... And we can have a nice match and rack up some points for each side. I don't know I forgot who I was playing as, but And of course there's no disqualifications and no count-outs. It was just pinfalls or submissions to apply here. I was trying to make this going to be as brutal as possible. I think there might have been blood in this match. I don't know if we had weapons involved. We didn't have that many weapons involved, but we had some. Oh, we actually no. I take it all back. We have got blood already. Because that was a decision I wanted to make. Actually, I wanted one of them to bleed. More specifically, Bart, because then Shadow would have an excuse for winning the championship at the end of the day, even though he was the face character at the time, and Bart was the heel. you know, and still is really. And you know, they haven't changed being a face or a heel, either of them, throughout the course of the current show. So yeah, well, I needed one of them to be bled open from the get-go, just to say, you know, Bart's been bleeding all this time, and you know how much, you know, really to put emphasis on the Iron Man match and how much energy is being exerted from Bart and whatever. Whoop, there's a phone. Phew, Sundays. It's very active around here on a Sunday. What was I talking about? So yeah, so we wanted to put the emphasis on an Iron Man match by having blood in it from the get-go, straight away, because that's what Iron Man matches should be. They should be grueling, and and we wanted to put emphasis on that by having someone busted open, and seeing as Shadow was going to be scheduled to win, I said, well, I need to get the most pinfalls, obviously, as Shadow, or most victories anyway, as Shadow. And here we are getting more weapons out. Because I'm trying to make that cut bigger right from the get-go. Because then I start to not use the weapons. Because I don't need to use them. I can just... Because the blood says it all, really. At the end of the day. And it makes the match that little bit more special. So here we go. There's the rare sighting of blood in the ASF, but it's being used to good effect. I always feel blood should be used to the best effect possible, in certain environments, especially this one. Definitely this Iron Man match needed blood in it to make it seem like, it was a long time, and, things were getting bloody and getting dangerous, and, there was no quitting after a pinfall. You had to continue afterwards. Even if you're completely busted open and completely dead, and there's Shadow getting our first pinfall victory in the space of almost like 5 minutes there. So there you go. And Bart, luckily, sadly, has run out of. Has run out of stamina. The little bar there. Yeah. So I was kind of hoping for Bart to come back here, because he needs to regain his stamina. Because I didn't want this to obviously be one-sided, especially with Shadow getting the first pinfall. We were saying if this was a regular match, Shadow would have been champion already. And yep, nope, it's an Iron Man match, and we've got to prolong it. And I wanted Bart to score a few more victories. Therefore, he needed to get his stamina back. So I was just trying to now do any method whatsoever to try and help him get his stamina back that was going to help him, even if it came to me slowly getting back up to my feet. Because the great thing about this game is you have to tap buttons to get back up to your feet. So if you don't tap anything, you'll stay on the floor. So so the best way to do this, I can pace things out. Bart's finally got his stamina back, and now he's going to absolutely maim me. Now he's going to lose some more stamina, and I'm going to have some problems with my leg now. So this is all very good for an Iron Man match to start off. Even though now it's been going on for a little bit while now, but it's still technically the beginning. But I was saying, yeah, this is all good. So now I'm just trying to find more methods to prolong the pain, and here's Shadow walking around holding his leg. So anyway, I can try and get Bart's stamina back up, because this is being rather silly. I don't know how Bart lost stamina so damn quickly, but he did. But I'm hoping he gets it back sooner rather than later. Even if it means me getting up delayed as Shadow by not pressing anything when I'm down on the floor. As you can tell, I'm not pressing anything now, because usually when you start pressing buttons, the character tends to like roll over a little bit with his hands over his chest. But now I'm just laying completely flat on my back, so I'm giving Bart that little bit extra time to get his stamina back. Because we've got an Iron Man match to drag through here as well, so this is good for in the case of timing. in terms of, we needed things to be prolonged and stretched out. So I needed to be on the floor for long periods of time, and Bart needed to recover his stamina for long periods of time and whatever. So it really put an emphasis on the Iron Man match. So it not only looked good on the screen, but it benefited from it from a creative standpoint, because it helped pacing the match, and how long these two were gonna be fighting with each other. They needed rest. They needed a little bit of respite every now and then, even if they weren't going to be issued any, but they were going to take it whenever they took the opportunity to get some. It just put the emphasis on that, which really helped the match. So it's all good, baby. Don't say it like that. Hopefully Bart's going to get a victory here with a pinfall. If he decides to pin. Here we go, he's going for a submission instead. Bart suddenly he doesn't have this move anymore, but we used to call it the slingshot submission. It's an STF, but hey. But he's stopped using that now. He just has the stunner. And I'm hoping he gets a victory here. There we go. He's made Shadow tap out, and now Shadow's all weakened up on the body. So I'm just trying to find ways now to not only bust Bart open, but to obviously I need to secure another pinfall. One hopes. Or I was trying to make Bart get the advantage here. There's a nice suplex on the trash can. And just trying to look for ways to prolong the match and make Bart get busted open more. Because that's the other great thing about this game is, you can get busted open on wrestling games, but you can only get busted open so far. But on once you're bleeding, and you can't increase the wound damage. But that's one great thing about this game. On the entire GameCube series, it's the only game where you can not only bust someone open, but if you keep hitting them in the head or whatever, you can make the cut bigger, and you can make them bleed even more than what they already are. So it increases the damage. So that's what I was looking to do. It's just because we've had some matches where you just see a little bit of blood, and then we've had some matches where you see absolutely a ton, an orgy, if you will, of blood just pouring out onto the canvas, and you can see it. And it makes the match just so much more like, wow, he's being proper cut open and everything. Because that's what you can do in this game. For a GameCube game, it's pretty bloody when you want it to be. So, you can bust someone open. You can just continually open the wound up and make it bigger and bigger and bigger until, they're practically turning into Vince McMahon from Survivor Series against The Undertaker, just oozing out with blood. Like coming out of a faucet. So in that respect, it's great for that kind of match. Is the amount of times you can bust someone open and make the cut bigger and bigger and bigger, and just see all the blood just come pouring out onto the canvas. It's great, and see the splatter when you punch them. It's evil, I tell you. But it helps with the mood of the match because me and you can point out, look how much blood he's lost. Because that's what we do point out, because we're like, whoa, it's a bloodbath or whatever. He's been absolutely maimed or whatever. You can't get blood on female, sadly. But you can get you can get blood on everyone else, obviously. But not on robots. Obviously, that I think I've already talked about that. But it's a bit stupid if a robot started getting busted open. So sometimes I don't have the option to have blood, even though the game would allow robots to bleed in this game. There you go. Or the robot skins or textures, at least, of blood to be busted open. It even happens with people with masks. They get busted open. I think you can play as Rey Mysterio in this game, and when you bust him open, you do see blood on his mask. Like there's a cut there. And it's like, what the fuck? Which is a bit weird. So Sometimes I don't always have the availability to have blood. But hey. But we were also saying, as having Bart busted open, and it was kind of like a revenge thing. Like for the first blood match at Bad Blood that they had. It was just a case of revenge, like Shadow's busted Bart open now, and now he's got to put up with it while Shadow beats the hell out of him throughout the course of this match. You know. Oh, and we tried to go for a spear here. Didn't work. While Bart was blinded by a trash can. Always hate it when you put the trash can over their head and then they counter a move that you try and do. It's like, how the hell do they do that? But we tried to just ignore that fact and just say, nah, it just counted. There we go. We don't need to elaborate. Yeah, because that does look a bit weird when they're trapped in the trash can and then suddenly you go and attack someone and they just suddenly end up outside of it and avoid it. It seems a bit just off and a bit weird. But hey. Anything can happen in the ASF, Eggman, including that. You're definitely right. No denying it there. Yeah. I'm going to have another drink and then we can talk about something else. So, make with the yakety yak yak. Yakety yak yak. Shut up. Yeah. Right, what else can we fit in with this? How long have we got for this match? About 8 minutes. So we got a bit longer, but hey, we've been going on for a good couple of hours now, almost, just coming up to. We're about 4 minutes out. So yeah, that concludes that this night is about 2 hours and 5 minutes for roundabouts. I'm going to be thankful when it's over, but we've still got to do the draft, as you said, because I've got to make up for my sorry for shopping for Christmas, on Thursday. Yes, well, it needed to be done. I was going to tell everyone what was going down, but I'm sure they'd understand, because they're probably doing exactly the same thing. If they are shopping at all, some of them might not be. They might be leaving it to everyone else. Or they might have already done it, like me. Stop rubbing it in. So yeah, the next show, like I said, just to back up what I just said earlier from the start, is we will be doing the draft after this, but you won't see it until either Monday, or I might upload it first thing on Christmas if you don't see it on Monday. But either way, you'll see it either on Monday or on Thursday. So yeah, which would be Christmas Day, I believe. So I'll be uploading it then. So yeah, that's a definite. So you'll either see it Monday or Thursday, or on Christmas Day. Which is a Thursday. It is a Thursday, isn't it? Yes. Here's Shadow finally with another pinfall. Hooray, with 7 minutes to go. I'm trying to be sparing with the pinfalls, because usually in a video game environment, of course in an Ironman match, you can gather quite a number of pinfalls. So I was trying to make it not a huge number. So 2 and 1 is usually good. I don't know if we get any more, but might get another one before then. And I might get another one, but that's only 2 to 3 pinfalls or victories or points or whatever in an Ironman match, which is good enough, I say. In terms of how we paced it all, or how I paced it all, or whatever. So that was all good. I approve. You approve a lot of things. Not everything. Here's Bart with another submission. He likes going for these. There we go, 2-2. So Shadow must get a victory here, because Bart's all evened up everything. So that's what we were trying to sell. And he's out of stamina again. Whoop-de-doo. So here we go with the regime of me trying to continue to bust Bart open as well, but at the same time trying to give him back stamina. as much as I can, so whenever he floors me, I can stay down for a little while. There's me getting some more weapons, making Bart have a little bit of rest time. Don't know what I did there. Just drop the trash can and then pick it up again. You're acting weird, that's for sure. I'll do one last thing idea, which I said in another making of. But if you guys want us to do any, want to re-commentate any events, just so you can feel like it's a better show, like the current ones are, then go ahead and suggest a match or an event that we can call, that we weren't doing such a good job on the first time we did it, or the last time we did it, or whatever, and we can do our improved commentary now then for the older events, so that you can feel the excitement more out of the older events that I wanted people to feel, instead of just being bored by our commentary from back then. So yeah, if you ever, because you won't have the sound from the match obviously, but we'll still put entrance music in, and we might even get Kanina to ring announce for some of them for the matches. So yeah, if you want that done, if you want like a recreation of the match, we'll just use the original footage, but have new commentary, new music, and the announcing, the ring announcing. Then you're by all means welcome to do that, and suggest that in the comments or wherever, and we will try our best to do that at some point between the when we finish doing these making of shows and when the show returns. We will try and do that. So that's an idea to throw out there. But if you're watching this really late and delayed to the party and the show's already begun, then you've lost your chance. Heaven forbid. No, but I'd be really keen to do that myself, because it'd be like, because we've learned so much since then, like you said, and we've just got better and better at commentary, you know, to the point where now we want to fix the old commentaries, because even we admit the old commentaries were terrible. So we want to like redo them. We might redo them anyway, just as a backstage thing. But if you want us to record it for YouTube, then we will. Because I'd be actually interested to see how things would play out if we were doing commentary for these events. And we're not being so lame as we were back then. Yeah, definitely. Well, we'll see what they say. We'll see what they say. Oh, there's the end of that video. So we've got just a few matches left, or just a few minutes left. Matches. We're on the last match. So we'll just say, well, thank you all so much for watching this one installment of Behind the Scenes, and the next one will either come on Monday, once again I will say, or on Christmas Day. I'll upload it first thing before I get into festivities, so it'll be an early upload, very early, so it should be up and throughout the entirety of Christmas Day. Whenever if you feel like watching that, or if you want to watch it afterwards, it'll be up, or it'll be up on Monday. Depends on what we want to do, and that'll be the draft. So where everything changes, haha, and we have to talk about that. There's Bar being busted open some more. Look at that blood content. That's the sweet stuff. And there's Shadow finally getting the all important 3-2 victory where he needed. Now we just need to prolong the match, and Bart's busted open from ear to ear. And I just shoved the can on the referee. Whoops. That was a big of a mistake, but hey, I don't need the referee anymore. So I guess that was a good thing. An accidental benefit. Because it's like Shadow doesn't need the referee anymore because he's won. He's got the title in his hands. He's got the whole title in his hands. Right, whatever. Don't do that. We got a lot of trash cans out in this match. It's not a street fight, is it? Yeah, we've talked about everything, I think, for a Summer Strike that needs to be said, needs to be talked about, plus more, as always. It's just we never have anything planned. It's just whatever comes, whatever the night brings, you know. And we'll be doing this for the next show in a minute, Eggman. But we'll have a little break before that, and then we can get going with that one, and then I can upload that whenever I feel the need to, like on Monday or on Christmas Day, that I've been saying all this time. Pff. Yeah, seriously, stop banging on about that. We're going to have another announce table spot to finish it off. No, the computer's going to throw me onto the announce table instead and slowly walk towards it. But hey, it's good for Bart to be recovering that stamina for the ending here. Hey, we did another table spot. 3 table spots with only 2 tables at ringside. I can't see the logic. Never mind. Now Bart's gonna stick his head in the ring. Oh dear. Yeah, we can just have a bit of fun at the ending here. Last minute to go. So yeah, this was our first big event with lots of storylines going into it. Lots of championship matches and lots of fun and action when we had fun making it. Or I had fun making it, and we both had a fair amount of fun, even if we were having a cold at the time. Doing commentary for it, for the most part. But like I said, if you want us to re-commentate it, then we can, and we will. Because we'd be very fascinated to see how things have changed since then. Because we still got all the storylines, of course, and everything, and what happened, so we'll be able to reference that when we do commentary and everything. So it'll all be as it would, what it should be, but just back on the old matches. But yeah, there you go. There's Shadow winning. He gave a final spear to Bart, and we got Shadow as the victor. Simply a decision because of the draft. That was the only. Well, that was because originally I was going to have Bart win the whole rivalry. In the end, just to let everyone's hopes down. But hey, I guess it was a positive outcome at the end. But Shadow didn't have a very long championship reign afterwards. I think he only had 1 title defense. There goes my throat again. So it's a good time to close it off. So yeah, thanks everyone for watching once again. Bringing you behind the scenes stuff for the ASF and what goes through our minds and what goes on with the show and what was going on with the show, etc, etc, etc. See you all either on Monday or on Christmas Day or whenever, in case you can't watch it on Christmas Day, in case you're busy or whatever, for the draft lottery. So yeah, we'll see you then. Adios amigos. Say goodbye, Eggman. Goodbye. You always come up with a creative way to do that. Thank you. Now stop the video, so we can move on to do this next one. Yes, of course, mister.